All of you are aware of the 3 farm bills that the Modi government has passed, and it has become a law. And the farmers are protesting against these 3 bills and they want them to be taken back. I'm not here to talk about the ground reality, what's happening at the ground level, how the protest is going on, or what the government is thinking, because all the channels are covering those. So it's quite possible that when you are watching this video, things at the ground level might have changed. Maybe farmers have stopped their protest, or the government has taken it back, whatever the reason may be. But I'm not here to talk about the pros and cons of the bill. I'm not here to talk about the whether MSP should be there, whether the Swaminathan committee report should be implemented, if the farmers are right or the government is wrong, or the farmers are wrong and the government is right. I don't want to talk about that. But I just want to say that the farmers shouldn't think that they are alone. Alone in the sense that this is not the first time that the farmers are protesting against something. There is a long lineage of protest by the farmers in India, and I think this is the time that one should really recall about all those. So it doesn't matter these farmers who are protesting today near Delhi win or lose tomorrow, as they have already created history and have become part of a rich tradition of raising voices against the ruling class or the government. So what you see today, this anger, this passion of youth, this protest, or this effort of government to suppress this protest is nothing new. You have to remember, you are not alone. There have been many like you who has protested against the government, fighting for their right and injustice against them. And as an activist, as a supporter of this movement, or those who criticize this protest should also know that this Kisan Andolan has a long history. If you watch closely, you will see the organizers of this protest are trying to revive the memories of prominent leaders from the past by creating camps in their names, like Shahid Banda Singh Bahadur Nagar, Chacha Ajit Singh Nagar, Gadri Bibi Gulab Kaur Nagar, Shahid Sadhu Singh, Shahid Bhagat Singh Nagar, Asafullah Khan Nagar, Kartar Singh Sarva Nagar. All of them were prominent Kisan leaders, or they have been attached with Kisan Andolan from time to time. So I take this opportunity to make a quick recap of couple of Kisan movements that has happened in India and changed the history of our nation. Interestingly, when today's protest against 3 farm bills are being ridiculed by some as Shaheen Bagh type movement by giving it a biryani angle, just as a reminder to them, let's recall the first ever armed peasant uprising in India. It was started by a Muslim popularly known as Titu Mir. He inspired the Muslim tenants in West Bengal to raise against landlords and the British indigo planters who imposed a beard tax on the Faroese. He built the famous bamboo fortress and challenged the Britishers. This is often considered as the first armed peasant uprising against British. India has always been dominated by farmers. So it is quite natural that there will be different Kisan Andolans from time to time. The father of the nation, Gandhiji, also came out of these farmers' movements only. His first satyagraha in India was in Champaran, and that also is a farmers' movement. Gandhiji's first great experiment with satyagraha was accomplished in 1917 in Champaran, Bihar. The indigo cultivators of Champaran were greatly exploited by European planters. They were bound by law to grow indigo on 3/20th of their land and sell it to the British planters at a price fixed by them. So Champaran situation looks familiar to you now. So in fact, today's farmers here in 2020 also, they are also protesting against similar kind of a problem. They also fear that they will not get a fair price or their land will be taken away by the corporates. So the Champaran farmers invited Gandhiji to take up their cause. It is marked as India's first civil disobedience movement launched by Mahatma Gandhi to protest against the injustice meted out to tenant farmers in Champaran district of Bihar. Unfortunately, in the end, the movement turned violent due to the incident of Chauri Chaura, but the movement has led us to a certain important outcomes. The ideology of non-violence had given much strength to the peasants who participated in the movement. The movement also contributed to the growth of nationalism. Another important peasant movement that happened during British time was the Khera peasant movement in Gujarat, which happened during the British period. This also is one of the farmers' movement which influenced the Indian independence movement. Mahatma Gandhi was chiefly the spiritual head of the struggle. His chief lieutenant Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, along with some devoted Gandhians like Indulal Yagnik, Shankarlal Bankar, Mahadev Desai, Narhari Parikh, Mohanlal Pandya and Ravi Shankar Vyas, toured the countryside, organized the villages and gave them political leadership and direction. It was again an experiment quite like that of Champaran, made on non-violence. It was also participated by intelligentsia. Incidentally, the movement provided an opportunity to the educated public workers to establish contact with the actual life of peasantry. The educated workers learned to identify themselves with the peasantry and made themselves available for sacrifices. Do you find the same similarities today when the farmers are protesting against the three farm bills? A lot of intellectuals, sportsmen, artists, they are all supporting the farmers. Even today, farmers have widened their canvas and they are raising their voice against lot of atrocities and lot of injustice that has happened to some social workers and to people who has lesser voice. Let's go to the next famous peasant movement, and that is the Bardoli movement that also came from Gujarat. During the British Raj in 1925, Bardoli in Gujarat suffered from heavy floods and severe famine, which affected the crops very badly. But the government of Bombay Presidency raised the tax rate by 30% without taking consideration to the request and petitions of the civic groups. The activists of Gujarat such as Narahari Parikh, Ravi Shankar Vyas and Mohanlal Pandya had a talk with village leaders and sought the help of prominent Gujarati freedom fighter Vallabhbhai Patel. And eventually he led the movement, and its success gave rise to Patel becoming one of the main leaders of the independence movement. Special emphasis was laid on the mobilization of women, and many women activists like Mithuben Petit, a Parsi lady from Bombay, Bhakti Ba, Shardaben Shah, Sharda Mehta and Maniben Patel, the Patel's daughter, were recruited for the purpose. During this time only, the women of Bardoli who gave Patel the title of Sardar. The momentum from Bardoli victory really set the pace of Indian national movement. A lot of things started happening one by one. That in 1930 Congress would declare total independence, and then Salt Satyagraha would also be launched by Gandhi. The next important peasant rebellion was in Malabar, the Mopla rebellion. The Mopla peasant movement was engineered in August 1921 among the peasants of Malabar district in Kerala. The Mopla tenants were Muslims and they agitated against the Hindu landlords and the British government. Their grievances related to lack of any security of tenure, renewal fees, high rents and other oppressive landlord extension. In the 19th century as well, there had been cases of Mopla resistance, but what erupted in 1921 was on a different scale altogether. The most prominent leaders of the rebellion were Vairan Kunnath, Kunjammad Haji, Sithi Koya Tangal and Ali Musliar. The movement of Mopla is a failure story. Much of its defeat lies in the fact that it took to communal swing. Secondly, when the Khilafat movement of that time stood for non-violence and also the struggle for independence, the Mopla took to violence as a method of agitation. Then came the Telangana movement. The Telangana peasant movement was against the Nizam of Hyderabad, but it quickly spread in the villages of Warangal and Bidar. Almost 4,000 districts were affected because of this movement. The Telangana movement represents the culmination of efforts by communist and socialist parties. The untiring efforts organizing and mobilizing the peasantry against grave injustice represents a breakaway from traditionally more moderate reformist movements within the peasantry. Although the exact significance and value of Telangana movement is fiercely debated, One cannot deny the role of movement in bringing the question of peasantry to the fore of the communist movement. Then comes the famous Tevaga movement of Bengal. Tevaga literally means 3 shares of harvest. This is one of the most famous farmers movement coming from Bengal. It was sharecroppers movement which demanded 2/3 for themselves and 1/3 for the landlord. Earlier the sharecroppers used to give 50-50 share to the produce on their tenancy. Tevaga movement was organized mainly by the communist cadres of Bengal Provincial Krishak Sabha. Tevaga movement spread out to 19 districts of Bengal. As expected, the landlords had refused to accept the terms dictated by their tenants. But the Jamindari repression could not subdue the resistance movement. The resisting tenants rather added a new slogan to their agenda, the total abolition of Jamindari system. The Tevaga struggle was successful in so far as it has been estimated that about 40% of the sharecropping peasants got Tevaga right granted willingly by the landlords. So you can see that farmers' protest is nothing new in India. We have a long lineage of farmers protesting against injustice. But it is a time that whosoever is involved in this movement now, they should recall their past and see all the movements and where all the leaders have gone wrong in the past and what all the leaders have achieved in the past. They should also take a lesson from that, and I wish that this movement becomes a success for everybody.